You're listening to Soul Food. We are thrilled to announce the launch of the SoulFoodfm.shop. Now you can grab Soul Food hoodies, mugs, decals, and more. Every purchase helps us make more Soul Food episodes and bring Soul Food to a wider audience. Visit us today at soulfoodfm.shop.
Bismillah walhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. They say just as our bodies need nourishment to survive, our souls need to be nourished as well. But the question is, how often do we feed our souls? Welcome to Soul Food, a podcast about spiritual refinement. My name is Amjad Tarsin, and I invite you to embark with me on this journey inward to work on our souls. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to episode 20 of Soul Food, where we're going to talk about the last 10 nights of Ramadan. In this episode, we will cover the importance of striving and that whoever strives tastes, which is a saying that I'll explain in a moment. We're going to talk about the description of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And then we're going to talk about seeking Laylat ul-Qadr, seeking out the night of glory and great worth. The saying, whoever strives tastes, is the person man jadda wajad. Whoever puts forth an effort and works hard and struggles and strives, they will find what they are looking for and they will taste the sweetness of their efforts. Is that anything in life that is precious takes work. Anything that you want to do, anything that you want to achieve, you've got to put forth an effort, and there has to be sacrifice, and there has to be difficulty in order to get to what you really want to achieve. The moment of joy that you feel when you accomplish something, if you graduate at your graduation ceremony, or if a woman is pregnant and she gives birth to a child, she goes through a great challenge, but at the end of that, there is a great moment of joy and a sense of accomplishing something major in life. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he said about the month of Ramadan that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pays his servants in full when they complete their task. That at the end of Ramadan, you will be given your full measure. And scholars of the spiritual path, they talk about striving and working hard because the treasure of being chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is invaluable. As one scholar said, if you want everything, you have to give everything. If you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you have to put forth a great effort that shows that you desire nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the blessing of being close to the Lord of infinite majesty and beauty and perfection. You've got to work for it. You have to put something forth. And as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَفِي ذَلِكَ فَلْيَتَنَافَسِ الْمُتَنَافِسُونَ. And in the pursuit of that, let those who are competing really put forth their competition and really strive to get ahead. And as the scholars also say, when you do that, when you first strive, it's bitter for your nafs. But then they say, that which is bitter then becomes sweet, and that you are given the sweetness of ibadah, you are given the sweetness of worship, the sweetness of prayer, the sweetness of the Quran, and the sweetness of nearness and intimacy with the most merciful Jalla Jalaluh. That brings us to the next point, which is the description of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Our mother, Sayyidah Aisha, may God be well pleased with her, the wife of the Prophet, she said, كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دخل العشر شد مئزره وأحيا ليله وأيقظ أهله. In a hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, she said that the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, when the last 10 nights of Ramadan entered, he would tighten his garment around his waist. He would tighten his belt in our terms. وَأَحْيَا لَيْلَةً. And he would give life to his night. and he would wake up his family. He would wake up his wives and family. And scholars say that tightening the garment around the waist, it means that during the last 10 nights of Ramadan, he would strive and he would not sleep with his family. He'd be up all night in worship, and that he would give life to the night with ibadah, with praying, with Quran, with dua, with having a heart that was completely dedicated inwardly and outwardly, always and only to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that during the first 20 nights of Ramadan, he would pray Qiyam al-Layl, and scholars say he would pray Qiyam al-Layl and he would sleep a bit. But during the last 10 nights, he wouldn't sleep. So for us, we should engage in these nights in prayer, in reciting the Quran, in calling upon Allah in dua, in sending salawat upon the Prophet, in engaging in dhikr, in all different forms of good. And that he would wake up his family. That's another description that Sayyidah Aisha said. And one of the wisdoms behind this is that if the veil was lifted and you saw the radiance and the lights and the mercy and blessings of the last 10 nights of Ramadan descending, you would not want anyone to miss it. You know, if there was something beautiful and amazing going on, like a meteor shower or just something very valuable, you would go and wake someone up, hey, wake up, look at what's going on. I don't want you to miss this. The last 10 nights of Ramadan are even more so because the spiritual benefits are everlasting. And as they say, when it rains, bring out the buckets. Everyone should come and collect from the divine outpouring that comes in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. And that brings us to the final point of seeking Laylatul Qadr, seeking out this glorious night of great value and great worth. And Ibn Umar, on the authority of Ibn Umar, may God be well pleased with him and his father, who said that إن رجالا من أصحاب النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أوروا ليلة القدر في المنام في السبع الأواخر, that there were some of the companions of the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, they saw Laylatul Qadr in a dream, and they saw that it occurred in the last 7 nights of Ramadan. فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أرى رؤياكم قد تواطأت في السبع الأواخر. He said that I see that your dream has truly coincided with reality and that it is in the last 7 nights. فمن كان متحريها فليتحرها في السبع الأواخر. So whoever is seeking it out, let them seek it out in the last 7 nights. This is narrated by Bukhari and Muslim. So some ahadith say the last 10 nights, some say the last 7 nights. And the way that we should understand these ahadith, in no way are they contradictory, but scholars understand them is what is it more likely to fall into, the last 10 nights, the last 7 nights, the odd nights. But what the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, says, whoever is seeking it, whoever is looking for it, then let them look in the last 7 nights. But also there are other ahadith that say the last 10 nights. So how do you deal with that? If someone was going to give you a lot of money, let's just be honest. Someone said, I'm going to give you $1 million. And they said, I'll give it to you tomorrow or the day after. Would you go and follow up with them the day after, or would you follow up with them tomorrow and the day after tomorrow just to say, hey, just checking in with you. Do you got the $1 million that you were going to give me? I said, oh, I'm going to give it to you tomorrow. Okay. But you wouldn't wait and be like, oh, maybe he'll just give it to me the day after and I misunderstood. But you would follow up both days just in case. And the one who seeks the highest levels of the treasure that is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't risk it. Doesn't say, oh, maybe I'll catch it another day. Oh, maybe it's in that other day and I'm not really going to put forth an effort. You say, oh, maybe it's in the last 10 nights or maybe it's in the last 7 nights. I'm going to do both. I'm going to put forth an effort and take advantage of all the nights of the end of Ramadan. And the people who seek what is with Allah, they're always ready. And they're always looking. And they're always waiting for the gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the life of this ummah, the lifespan of the members of the ummah of the Prophet Muhammad is short in comparison to the previous people. So when you seek Laylatul Qadr, inspire yourself and remember that this one night is worth 30,000 nights. It is worth 1,000 months or greater than 1,000 months. And each month has about 30 days. So it's worth more than 30,000 nights. One prayer is worth 30,000 prayers. One verse of Quran is worth reading 30,000 verses of the Quran. One righteous intention is rewarded as if you had more than 30,000 righteous intentions. So take advantage of it and seek it out. And if you really want it, and if you really want to make sure that you don't miss out on it, then you take advantage of all these last 10 nights of Ramadan. And that brings us to the call to action, which is figuratively and literally, don't sleep. Well, I mean, if it becomes extremely difficult for you, obviously you can sleep, but don't sleep on these nights. Don't let them pass you by. Give it your best. And when you do that, you will get the greatest portion of these nights and you will get Laylatul Qadr. And inshallah, we're going to dedicate an episode especially to Laylatul Qadr, where we'll talk more about what to do in that night. But take advantage of all these 10 nights, not just the 27th night or the 21st night or the 23rd night, but all of these nights, and you will certainly have attained Laylatul Qadr, and you will get the greatest portion. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you and elevate you and bring you near. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala, we ask Allah for tawfiq. We ask Allah that He gives us strength and determination and the willpower in these last 10 nights, and that He make it the best of our nights of Ramadan, and that we and the entire ummah is granted mercy and alleviation. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Thank you for listening to Soul Food. To subscribe to the show, visit soulfood.fm, where you can subscribe on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, or by email. If you're on iTunes, please also leave us a rating and a review. It helps more people discover the show.